Welcome back. This is M-Dog. All right, let's go ahead and do this order real quick. So we're kind of starting with the end here. Obviously, we're going to work our way back. So remember, there's 30 silver for that little cafe order. So that wouldn't have made a big difference, but I just wanted to kind of show you. We spent 40 minutes. The timestamp's going to be really weird, but 2.5 to 3. So about 36 minutes, 37 minutes fishing in a spot. And you know how sometimes the beginning of a spot is better than it ends up being over the course of the long haul. It's also worth noticing that we had a couple of decent rare carp come in and the trophy. So that's a lot of silver for 36 minutes or whatever. But if you take the trophy away, that's a little bit, still really good. If you take the rares away, you're getting into more, for carp fishing, closer to average, I would say. But altogether, counting what we did catch, it was very good. So make sure we're good on baits, and I think we are for now. Let me get us back out there, and we'll see. It's right here at the end of the afternoon, early evening. We'll see if we can get a few more fish caught, just to kind of show you the spot, the setup, and everything. It's a little bit of a ride out there, but thankfully it's not too far. I think the numbers is 132 is where we're headed. You probably know this spot. The casting direction is different, though. I don't remember ever casting quite as far left as we're going to be casting. But yeah, so far it seems to be working really well. So I was trying to just get a couple of spot check videos in tonight and or tomorrow as work allows me, and I thought this would be a good one for the first video. Just a little bit further and we will be there. One last little dip here, and then we're pretty much there. Go ahead and run the rest of the way. And as you probably already know, or you may already know, and we're at 35 clip. This is 132, 147. Now I'll tell you, most of the time when I'm in this spot, I'm fishing kind of like this, or this, sometimes out here just a bit. But for this, we're actually going to be casting sort of almost more like at that 3. So just right of that boat, overturned boat. We're going to kind of set them up like this and then kind of go from left to right. Oh, I forgot this is starting my happy hour. That's kind of interesting. The other spot I wanted to check tonight, because it looks like it's been interesting today, is the spot on bear using slightly different bait. So if there's time, I'll also take a look at that one with you a little later. But I guess for happy hour, we are we're going to be stuck with whatever we can catch in this spot, at least for the first part of happy hour. Which the results I had earlier, within the first, now let me think about this. I think it was within the first 16 minutes, I had 8 different species of fish caught. So, and the only thing I'm mean by that is that it's one of those spots that there's so many different species that seem to be coming out. You know, if you're just like chilling, watching whatever, the Godfather trilogy or something, this isn't a bad place to just set up shop for a few days. I'm sure that the spot's going to come in waves. It'll be better at times and not as good at other times, but there's just so many different species here that it's kind of interesting in that way. So first fish is going to be a mirror. It seems like if you had to say what fish is being caught the most here, especially with the evenings, counting the evenings, mirror carp probably takes the prize. But there's a lot of variety as well, so it's very nice. And let's get this fish in, and let me show you the setup. If you are good at identifying rigs from the different baits we're using, you may have already noticed that we are using the Snowman rig, and we are using the same baits across all three. Same setup, same hook size, same PVA. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. We've got these large Zenith WG hooks because we are using Snowman, which means we're using a sinking boilie in this case, the Crab and Mussel 20 soluble with the crab flavor corn, and that's just the Kraft brand crab flavored corn. King crab dip, and then the one thing I did with the PVA, and oh, interesting. Okay. Let me just make sure that is in fact what I'm using. It is. Okay. So we're using, it's funny. I think I've used two different PVAs in this spot. Anyway, this is the PVA we're using. Corn flour. It's got crushed boilies in it. And then pellets with crab and mussel attractant. Let me see if I can figure out what I've done, because I had another stack and I made a fresh 50 PVA, and now I'm just not sure where those have gone. So let's figure that out real quick. I think we're using 60 centimeter leaders on all three. Like I said, same hooks, 35 clip. All three were just casting in the same direction with these same baits. And let me just check and make sure. First off, I want to make sure that it is the same PVA on all three. It's going to be similar. Yep, it's identical. So we are using the same PVA on all three. But let me just see if I can find that other one really quick. It should have been named either crab or king crab. This is the one we're using. So, is it possible that I made it... This is a crab one, so we can use that one. I think this one is too. So these are both ones we can use. Because a lot of the fish, other than the trophy that came out here, a lot of the fish have been small. I have not been always using the 20-gram bags. I think the 10-gram bags have been working fine for this spot. It would have been a stack of 50. I had just made them, although it is possible that I failed, or it's also possible I never... No, I did make it into... It's not that one. I did make it into PVA, so it must have failed, if I had to guess. But anyway, this PVA is working fine. The other one I was using was very similar. It just didn't have the boilies crushed up. It just had the crab additives in there. But regardless, you know I'm sure you've seen the crab PVAs at this point. But this is the whole reason why I was using the 10-gram bags in this spot, because the catch rate has been terrific with the fact that we're using large 1 hooks. In a lot of cases, people lately have been going to 1.0 or 2.0 hooks. But the catch rate's been great. But yes, we are catching a fair share of smaller carp. And like I said in the beginning, if we didn't hit those, the trophy and then the rares, probably the amount of silver you're going to make in this spot is a lot more average. Still a fun spot though, and so that's why I was trying to be careful with not putting too much investment into the PVA bags. It's 10 o'clock at night, so we'll see what's coming out at this point. Could be a common, but also just could be another mirror. See how patient I am with sitting here on the video, but the trophy came out first thing in the morning, like, 7:30 a.m., which is one of the times when you expect to see something like that. We also had a really nice fish come in around noon in this spot earlier, so you never know when it's going to hit, but a lot of times it is pretty early. I think I've showed you everything you need to see, though. So now we're just chilling, right? We're just fishing. So I'm going to use this as an excuse, since it's happy hour, to make a few lures real quick. Maybe get a couple of points, or a couple of percentage of points. All right, let's see if we have enough to at least just try to get a 9 out of 10 on each of these types. All right. So far, so good. So far, you've been good luck. My method on lures is just to go ahead and get a 9 out of 10 first. If there's a particular lure that's really hot, then I might sit there and make tons and tons of one until I get 1 or 2 10 out of 10s, but they're not super active, so I try not to do that too much. I figure that, you know, if a certain lure is really hot, I can always go ahead and make that lure over and over till I get the ones I want at that point. And if a lure is really hot, then there's probably more demand at that point that other people might want them. If you do have premium and would like a handmade lure, feel free to send me a message in game. I am accepting trades. I can't just start sending away free lures to everybody. I get so many requests for free stuff already that there's no way I'm going to open that door up. But if you are willing to send, a fair trade, I don't mind getting you a 9 out of 10 on whatever lure. Typically, I'm accepting, stack of boilies or something that I, would need to use anyway. If you want to get some of the, ingredients that I need to make the lure, you can always send that, and we might be able to work something out that way. But I prefer not to do the ingredients to make the lure, just because I'm having to make them already. Sometimes I fail. Sometimes I make a 6 out of 10, and I'm not going to put that on anybody. I'm just going to throw it away. So I'd rather just, something that's reasonably comparative in terms of value, like a one stack of decent boilies or something. But as you can see, I tend to do a lot of carp fishing, so that may end up making the most sense to me. Some folks have offered to send me gold baits for the lures, which I was happy to do, but that's not required. I mean, I want to be reasonable with it, and you may be wanting to level up lures yourself, and if so, then by all means do that. But it also is extremely expensive. I would recommend that if you're going to level up lures, that unless all you're doing is spin fishing, because if that's the case, yeah, you might want to prioritize it. But if that's not the case, and you're sort of well-rounded, doing lots of different types of fishing, then you probably don't want to spend the kind of silver it's going to require to level up lures until you've pretty much leveled everything else up. So if you're going to do it yourself, by all means do it. If you decide not to do it, at least you're not going to do it anytime soon. Sometimes it is nice, like right now at Tunguska, it is mighty nice to be able to throw out the 75F006. I mean, it's just, it's just doing some really good work. Yeah, it seems like it does make a significant difference in the amount of silver and stuff you can make. So I get that. If you would like to, again, if you'd like to trade, just let me know. We can talk about it and figure something out. But if you're not interested in that, I totally understand. And I have had people offer me some of the lures of the week recently, and I've always just said, I'm just going to hold off, because I kind of wanted to have that motivation to keep going, keep leveling it up. All right, we've got a moment here. Let's see if we can get through another. So we just did the 110F. Let's go to the 140F. And again, all I'm trying to do right now is grab a few points during happy hour and at least get a working 9 out of 10 of each type of lure. Looks like we have a fish on, so we'll go kind of quick here. You are going to want to put all the points in lures. It just doesn't make sense, in my opinion, if you're trying to get a decent set of lures for yourself and you're making them, the amount of times you would have to make them without points just to get even like an 8 out of 10 can sometimes be really high. So there's a lot of costs. And by cost, it's different. There's a lot of different costs, I guess I would say, to get their own lures. It starts off pretty cheap. By all means, don't hesitate to go all the way through foam fish. It's very cheap to level to foam fish, and those foam fish can be really helpful to have. So, and you go through them quickly as well. So there's a rare in this spot. That is our 4th rare caught in this spot in about an hour of fishing. So something's going on with rares here with this bait setup that seems really nice. 7.1 mirror albino, 5.02 mirror ghost, and now 2 scaly red starvis. Again, most fish we're catching in this spot, if you look at weight, very small average. I mean, nothing past the 3rd fish, nothing over 10 kilo, right? But because of the rares and the trophy possibility in this spot, there's also some barbel occasionally. This trophy doesn't count, but it still is a really nice spot in terms of seeing some rares, a lot of different fish, and silver per hour, at least initially, seems super strong. Super strong. Hope that's a barbel. It's not. It's just a small mirror linear frame, sorry. I think that's 2 frames now that we need to turn into fish pieces. We've got a little rain, a little overcast. And the first hour, well, it wasn't an hour. The first 36 minutes here, it was sunny and not overcast. So we're kind of seeing 2 different weather situations in the same spot, which is kind of nice to give you a little bit of variety here. I thought there was another frame. Yep, there it is. I didn't really anticipate that this video was going to be made during happy hour. I apologize for making you look at this screen for a part of it, but I also don't want to sacrifice an entire happy hour of not getting any progress at all. So this is the 65F. And you see with points, every once in a while you'll make like a 7 or 8 out of 10, but for the most part, I make 9 out of 10 every time. That's why having points is so nice. So that was 75F. So the last one will be the 90F, and then we're kind of good, at least on having, you know, 1 9 out of 10 on each type. Let's see what this is. Looks like a mirror to me. I don't believe that's a frame. And the linears have been very rare in this spot so far for me, so I'm going to guess mirror. And this is really like the backbone of the silver that we're making, are these like 4 to 8 kilo mirror carp. They are coming out with a lot of regularity, for sure. So we'll try to go a little bit longer because I do, unless work starts interrupting me, I do want to see if maybe we get something decent around 6, 7, 8 a.m. But if not, I think it's a worthwhile spot. I mean, I think it's worth, again, seeing how your RNG works out in this spot. I'm sure other baits would work here as well. You know, this has kind of been the fun bait combination with the snowman here in the last few days. It's been doing really well in different spots of the lake. But if you wanted to try to go crazy with bite rate, you could just use the crab flavor corn, maybe up the hook size a little bit. You could certainly try tuna and squid, you know, which has still been working some. Even it looks like mulberry's been working some in some spots. Probably would catch a different spread of carp species overall. And it might be slower bite rate, but you know, there's a lot of things you could try. But I think this bait combo here is a pretty nice. It's doing some pretty good work at the moment, so I'm kind of enjoying it. Okay, we've got 19 of these. Oh, these cheap hooks. All right, so how many lures have you seen me make? And that's the first 10 out of 10. And whenever I do make a 10 out of 10, I will usually go in and go ahead and put nice hooks on there, just kind of to try to separate it in my mind from, okay, that's one that I, you know, want to keep. And the rest I end up taking the hooks off of. There's another 10 out of 10. That is unusual to have two that close together. The other ones I take the hook off of to reuse the hooks, and also just to signify that, you know, they're decent. Anything under 9 out of 10 at this point I just throw away. All right, this is a reasonably sized carp, I think. And even after I stop the video, I'll still have a little bit of happy hour left, so I will wait and make a few more lures after you all are gone. Nothing rare or unusual about this one, I do not believe. And your guess is as good as mine, but I'm going to say mirror. And it's a nice one, a decent one. Again, helps your silver average when you're catching a few mirrors like this. It really does. It's also a decent fish for happy hour. What would be really nice for happy hour, of course, would be a trophy or a, 10 plus kilo rare carp. Common. So the non-mirrors are starting to wake up. It's close to 4 a.m. And that's what is so nice about a spot like this, or any carp spot. When the mirrors are active, if the mirrors had not been active, we could have spent the last 10 minutes just kind of not catching anything, right? Waiting for the commons to wake up again. How many linears have we had total? But the mirror carp tend to feed at night, so we see a lot of decent mirrors coming in. So in all the fish we caught here, 3 of them were linears. Not quite as rare as I was thinking, but... And only the one barbel. That's another thing I would have predicted that we would have seen with these large one hooks and the crab setup. We might have seen a couple more barbel, but at the end of the day, it's kind of RNG, so... It's not to say that barbel won't come in here. I think the barbel are going off on bear, though. I'm really curious to try bear, so hopefully we'll have time to give you some feedback on what's going on at bear. Okay. A little bit of a slow moment here. I can show you kind of how I organize my lures. Most of them will not have hooks, but like I said before, when I hit that 10 out of 10, I'll go ahead and throw some decent hooks on there just to kind of set it aside. Let's see here. All right, that's a 9 out of 10. So I'm going to take hooks off of it. Actually, I think that's one I've fished with. That's one I've had for a long time, I believe. All right, this is one we've made. That's a 10 out of 10. So instead of taking those hooks off, what I actually want to do is, and it's not necessarily the hooks that I'll end up fishing with it, but if I put nice hooks on there, I'll remember basically that it's a keeper. And again, that's one I've fished with. All right, we've got a fish on. I won't make you watch all this, but that's kind of how I go through and keep them somewhat organized. It'd just be great to see a nice fish come out here at the turn of the morning. Got a little overcast, rain, temperatures aren't bad. See how our RNG's holding up. You never know though. Very steady bite rate. So at this point, we've total time been here a little more than an hour. We're still getting reasonably good bite rate on fish. Yeah, that sounds interesting, doesn't it? We shall see. It doesn't sound as interesting now, but it's almost like one of those grass carpet bear. It takes off at first, and then you turn it, and it's not big enough to do it again. So what does that mean it is? Maybe a frame? Sometimes I feel like frames fight a little stronger. So a smaller one might give you a little bit of a run at first, but once you get control of it, you realize it's not as big as you hoped it was. I could be wrong though. Looks like it's just a common. Just an everyday common carp. It's a reasonable one though. He's got a little bulk to him, but he had no fight. Once we turned him, he was fine with coming straight in. 11.7. I think we had the friction breakdown on like 24, so that's why he felt like he had a chance there. Oh, tell me more. So all of a sudden, after catching... By the way, I don't know if I ever made it clear, but I had 3 rare carp in a row. And that's a much nicer red starvis. And again, for happy hour, that's fantastic. So if you look at these 3 in a row, so red starvis followed the mirror albino carp, which followed the mirror ghost carp. So it was weird. These are the first 2 rares, right? But since then, it's been all about the red starvis. But in a short amount of time, 5 rares. I mean, that's a lot for me, at least. In in a little over an hour, carp fishing. They are here, and they like these baits, apparently. And all of the starvis are the scaly ones. Got a run on commons going right now. All right. Interesting weather for the next few days, huh? Swimming right for us. He did half the work for us. It's like a 20-meter clip after he swam for the shore. Ooh, first juvenile I've had in this spot. Oop. Waste of PVA there. But we probably want to have the dip involved. I'm going to go ahead and say that we do want to have the dip. All right, it's almost 8, so I think we've had enough excitement. I'll try to wait for one more fish here, see what it is, but at least you got to see a decent rare come out. I think trophy commons, trophy mirrors are distinctly possible in this spot. You never know when RNG might just come through for you on something even better than that. This is a very small fish. This might be like an eyed or gibble or something. I hope it's not a carp. I'm not even sure if it's fish pieces worthy. It is very small. Oh, it is a carp, and it is a marker, but just barely. Ugh. That is not what you want to see. Let's don't end on that note. I'm looking forward to, as soon as I stop the video, we'll have a trophy come in, per usual, so that'll be nice. 35 clip, 132, 147. Crab and mussel 20, crab flavor corn, king crab, and whatever king crab dip you got going. Should be fine. If you don't have PVA, honestly right now, I think Bear is responding better to non-PVA carp fishing. I'm not sure Amber's quite strong enough to, especially in comparison to Bear, to justify fishing here without PVA, unless you're just wanting to, but especially if you can't either spod feed it or something, I bet this would be painfully slow. Feeding seems to be really important with carp fishing. But sometimes, especially recently, Bear has been so strong that even without feeding, it's done okay. I'm not going to make any more lures, but I'm just trying to remember, did we make that last group? The 90F, Balsa Minnow, 90F. I guess I didn't, huh? All right. Oh, yep, I did. Okay. 90F. Okay. Cool. I've probably got 20 minutes of happy hour left, so if nothing else, I need to go just so I can do something for the last 20 minutes of happy hour with lure making or whatever. I'm trying to give it one more fish, though. I think that, especially with it being overcast and rainy, we're going to catch nice fish here off and on all day. Just don't know if I can be patient enough. How long? I guess it hasn't been that long. A little longer than usual between bites here, though. It's a nibbler. Well, this is turning into an all-day rain. Kind of wish it would stop raining but stay overcast. Kind of see what that did to it, but The rain is persisting. What is nibbling away at our rods? Oh, finally, I think it's on the third rod. Fish is actually there. Let's see what was nibbling that long. That was intense. Frame? Are you the guilty party, Frame? Just a little frame. Pretty much same PVA, just I've got these partial stacks of the 20-gram bags. Just might as well go through them. Okay. We've hit a little bit of a rut in terms of the size of the fish. Definitely seen this during the day, have gone through these little times, I guess, but overall I still think the spot can be really good. Trophy possibilities and the rare carp. The main reasons why. Alright, so let's wrap this one up for now. If there is time, I will try to take a closer look at some stuff on bear later on. But as always, thanks for watching. Hope you can have some good RNG tight lines and make some silver and XP out here as well if you choose to. But as always, thanks for the support, and I will see you next time. Peace out.